we go.
To our final Wednesday Wisdom. Good to see you, good to see everybody. So here we are, our last Wednesday Wisdom for a while. And the main theme, which is something that is quite pervasive when I see human reactions in the media in general. Let's begin. We're going to talk about the 6-year difference between meeting someone who interviewed me 6 years ago and this week. A very big difference. 6 years ago, I hadn't yet learnt the concept of context and used to deliver information as it appeared in my mind. Very, very, very different to who I am now. And I found out, of course, that if you tell people things that you consider to be facts, such as I read my first novel at 3, by 5 I'd already read at least 2, been playing piano since age 2, the first thing that people can think is that you're full of crap and that you're big noting yourself. Now, a lot of people here will hear that and go, yeah, that's true. Someone with autism does not understand that. That is a completely foreign concept. You saying what you can do, whether it's good or bad, is simply stating the wall is blue, the chair is green. There's no context with that. But context is learning how to deliver it. And so now it would be something like, I didn't believe it myself, and you've heard me say this, I didn't believe it myself when I was diagnosed with savantism. And in fact, that's one of the main reasons I went and studied mathematics and physics and the languages, and was quite shocked at the grades that I was getting, and finished the degree in 2 years instead of 3, and all of that type of thing. That seemed quite not believable. And I've just said the same information, but in a different context. If I just walked up to them and said, hey, I finished my degree in 2 years, they say, oh, look at you, do you think you're some big shot? Because there is some neurotypical understanding underneath. There's an assumption that you would not be saying something like that about yourself unless there was a subset of a meaning or an underlying agenda, which doesn't exist with the autist brain, because it does not have in its mind what a perceived agenda would be unless it's explained to it logically. There is no natural everyone knows this or the common sense or anything like that. None of that actually exists. As I've said before, thank you for the hearts. Good to see you. So it's important now, fun guy, true, good to see you. It's important, Erica, that I mention when I tell people about these. Number one, I don't bring it up unless it's specific to teaching about autism or about my own disbelief at the fact that this may be true. And now the disbelief will be the second topic of Wednesday Wisdom today. But the disbelief is important because it eliminates the hypothesis that you are aware of how great you are. And that's actually true. I mean, everything I'm talking about is obviously, the truth is the fundamental assumption. And so if someone actually was trying to big note themselves, then I would not advise them to say it the way I'm saying it, because then they'd be lying. So if you want to big note yourself, that's your business. But that was never anything of interest to me. But of course it can be perceived that way without explaining it correctly. And that's why I say it's disbelief is my first reaction to that type of thing. Erica, thank you very much. Okay. So I actually explained to someone recently that I had learned phrases, because many people conflate autism with other mental, thank you very much, with other mental disabilities. Now, you can be a human being and be disabled or impaired or have some physical injury or a mental illness, all of which could either be cured or not cured or supplemented or, what's the word, compensated for or with, okay? Or you could be a human who doesn't have those things. And it's the same with autism. You can have autism and also have other mental disabilities which are correlated. And you can have autism and be high functioning and a savant, and other disabilities like Tourette's, which is what I have Tourette's and I have OCD. And ADHD, which people dispute whether it exists or not, of course. We're still in that era when it comes to ADHD. Good to see you, Michael Out. But my ones are mostly invisible because I have the capacity, especially with the savantism, to hide them. Now, as a kid, I did not have that capacity. And my own family, not just immediate, but also extended family, when I had bouts of Tourette's attacks, accused me of deliberately acting out to get attention. Now, that is exactly what you would expect from a family, because if they don't know, then that's what it looks like, because, of course, context. Now, if you have autism, you don't understand the context. All you understand is that, well, then they must be hating you. And it's a tragedy for all participants. But that has a traumatic effect on someone, especially, well, in my case, other people have different things, but the same outcome, it's extremely traumatic. And what that does is it makes you believe that maybe you are acting it out. And the fact that you can't stop it means that you know that you are acting it out, and you love the fact that it makes you look like an idiot. And so somehow you accept that you're an idiot. That's a coping strategy that I did as a young person, which has been, as I said before, suffusive throughout my memories that exist today, as well as my conscious and subconscious. These are so pervasive, in fact, they predated my ability to be verbal. Like many people who have suffered trauma from before they were verbal. What they do is they suffer bodily reactions to people's comments that give them the hint of something similar to what caused that trauma in the first place. Hello, Platinum Mimi. When I explained to somebody once, thank you, when I explained to somebody once that I had to learn the phrases such as, how are you? Good to see you. That's great. How are you? How was your weekend? Really? Really? Oh, really? Really? And I had to learn them and memorize them. And thankfully, because of the savant intellect, I've been able to memorize them at a rate that has enabled me to catch up to the rest of humanity, at least phenotypically speaking, or how I appear. All right. Now, somebody once said to me when they heard my explanation, because most people don't know about autism still, they expect, when they see someone with autism, they expect them to act in a way that looks mentally disabled, which is actually not the truth. That's some people. It doesn't mean they're all that way. That's like, all people who are gay don't dance around and wear skirts. That's, that would be very condescending to think that, I would say. But people say that out of innocence, not any nefarious intent. I don't. It's a stereotype, exactly. It's a stereotype. And stereotypes are common. As I've said before, they are a natural response. It doesn't mean that we have to live with them, but it also means that we don't have to necessarily judge people for having a natural stereotypic response.
Sorry. Do I look like I give a shit?
Here we go.